like you're packing up and heading off to France.
Not packing up and off to France. I'll still always be a New Zealander and will be in New Zealand for 6 months of the year. But yes, 2 years ago we looked at our business and we'd been more and more export oriented, mainly to Europe. And we said, in order to develop this business, we've got to be based there. So we bought a farm in France and we shipped about 100 alpacas over to both our farm and a client farm in France. And we've been breeding there and servicing the European market from there for the last 2 years.
It's obviously a pretty big market.
Oh, it's a huge market. We centered ourselves in France, in the south of France, not because it's just a nice place to be, which it is, but because I can get to UK, Holland, Germany, Italy, Spain, all with only a drive of 12 hours. But I can cover all of those areas.
Nick, is language a barrier for you?
French is no barrier. I do speak French. It's improved significantly since I've been over there. I'm in an area where there's an awful lot of English as well, so getting a chance to speak French is sometimes hard. German is improving. Spanish is just about okay. Yes, it's okay. We're working on it, and it's working.
Now, rules and regulations about getting alpacas into France.
Well, it's just part of the EU, and so it's the normal EU protocol, which we've been working with for 10 years, 15 years. In an export mode. Mine simply went in as another export.
You used to look at Malaysia and getting livestock into that. Is still a happening thing?
Certainly there have been sales into there. That's a bit quiet at the moment. It tends to go in bulk operations. You know, one person gets them in Malaysia and then everybody wants them in Malaysia, and a year later nobody wants them because they've all got them. So you tend to move countries when you're exporting like that.
Byproducts? You guys have always been big into the byproducts.
Yeah, the product from the alpaca, the main one is fibre, and we still shear fibre. And more recently, we've taken advantage of the better manufacturing possibilities in Europe, and we've started to produce suiting material from Suri alpaca, and we make suits. And we sell those suits to the Chinese, the high-end Chinese, through a club basis. They pay to join the club and they have access to a whole range of unique products. And certainly what we produce in terms of suits is unique. Nobody has made Suri alpaca suits before in the world. We make about 220, so we limit the supply. And they are made to measure in Savile Row and then sold to the Chinese clients.
That's interesting. How does it feel compared to a merino suit, for example?
I can show you what the cloth looks like. I can't show you a suit, but here is the cloth. It's a very fine cloth, and this is why we have to make it in Europe. We simply can't make this in New Zealand. It's 250 grams per square metre, and, well, there it is. It makes brilliant cloth.
Very, very light.
Very, very light, yes, 250 grams per metre.
It's a good market for you then?
It's a good market. It's a good markup market. We can make one suit from basically one alpaca.
And Nick, you've already got contacts in China.
Yes, I have a Chinese partner. And he actually owns a chateau in France where he makes organic wine, which he also exports to China on an exclusive basis. And we work together on, I help him a little bit on the vineyard, and I help him with his alpacas. He's got 50 alpacas on there, Suri alpacas. And then we do this manufacturing project.
Pretty nice sort of a lifestyle, isn't it, really?
It's okay, yes. I mean, I 6 months in France, 6 months in New Zealand, summers both. The odd trip to China in between. I never have to take my shorts off and put long trousers on.
Now, you've been in business for a long time and you've worked really, really hard to get to where you are now.
Yeah, 28 years. And we started very small when people in New Zealand didn't even know what an alpaca was. And we've seen the market grow in New Zealand. We've seen the alpaca, the quality of the alpacas in New Zealand improve to be undoubtedly the best in the world. Um, Now the market in New Zealand is there's a lot of people breeding alpacas, and supply demand isn't quite in balance the way that it was before, hence the export side and hence the move to Europe. The other thing about France, by the way, is there are export markets now developing that we can't reach from New Zealand. Russia, Turkey, Finland, some of the African countries, which I can reach from my herd in France out of Charles de Gaulle Airport, that you just cannot reach from New Zealand. So it opens new export markets for me as well.
What's your competition like in Europe?
Nobody's been breeding anything like as long as we have, and nobody has the experience, and nobody has the 100% New Zealand genetics. I operate a closed herd, so I don't allow any other input from other genetics that is not New Zealand genetics. So it's basically a little enclave of New Zealand alpacas in Europe.
And of course, you get the lifestyle.
And I get the lifestyle, yes, that's true. The bread, the cheese, the wine. In fact, Rob, a little story. I helped the chateau out on shearing, and they decided they'd pay me in wine. And they calculated it on the cost of production rather than on the retail. So I ended up with 20 cases of premium French Bordeaux wine.
It's a lifestyle.
I was happy with that.